I'm Andy Rouse. I'm the right director of this event. We're going to have some housekeeping discussions and things like that. But before we get into all the nitty-gritty details of the event, I have a couple of really special guests that I want to introduce. First one scared the hell out of me about 9 months ago, maybe or longer. When she wants to have a face-to-face meeting, she couldn't really just do this over the phone. And I'm like going, boy, that doesn't sound good. Just was not making me happy. And then when she came to...
Randy, they can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm going to go here. We do have sound. How's that? Is that way better? Sorry about that. I forgot the first rules. Stay behind the lectern and the microphone. But anyway, so we have this meeting and they go, well, we're trying to sort this out and this partnership out. And we'd really like to partner with Race Week and make sure that the Yorktowns are now our home for Race Week. And she goes, what do you think about changing the name to Charleston Race Week at Patriots Point? I'm like, well, yeah, of course. That's a no-brainer. I'm going to tack on that header for sure. It's pretty obvious. So I'd like to introduce Allison Hunt, who's just been an amazing supporter of this event. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Charleston Race Week at Patriots Point. We are so excited to have you all back here again this year, and so excited to kick things off. I think you'll find for those of you that were here last year, we've been able to sort out quite a few things with a little extra time to do so, and we think you'll have an even better time this year. Looks like the weather looks good. We're so happy to have you here. Our staff is around. You'll see our name tags and our shirts. Anything that we can do to help you, you grab us. We want to make this a great experience for you and for you all to have a great time and great races. So with that, I would like to introduce someone who is an integral part of Charleston Race Week and bringing all of this together, who actually made the first phone call to me. So the mayor of Mount Pleasant, one of our board members, Will Haney.
I appreciate that. Welcome to Mount Pleasant. We are proud to be the home of the most unique regatta in America. And I tell people, sailors from other places, I'm a veteran of Cora. Did my first keelboat race right here in the harbor and sailed in Cora until I decided not to have any fun in my life anymore and run for public office. And if you're not from here, everything on this side of that iconic bridge is the town of Mount Pleasant, and over there is Charleston. And we love Charleston, but I know y'all are going to spend your time and money in the town of Mount Pleasant while you're here, right? Thank you very much. But to answer two questions, no, I cannot help you if you get a ticket, a DUI, or a parking ticket. I'm sorry, I am your friend and I'm a fellow sailor, nor can I help you if you wind up in the protest room, which might happen. So I just don't have that jurisdiction. But thank you for being here in Mount Pleasant. While you're here, I just want to leave you with a little impression of the town of Mount Pleasant. Our goal is to be the leading municipality in the state of South Carolina in all things that have to do with resiliency and conservation, and we are making strides in that. And when you are in Mount Pleasant, you are in a town that is a lean, green machine. And thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting this all together and making this thing happen. It's really a treat to have a town's mayor backing your event. It's just unbelievable support that we get from the town of Mount Pleasant, and that we're very grateful for. So thank you. Thank you for making it today, and really appreciate all your efforts. I'm going to switch it over to Taryn Teague, who's our PRO for the event, to introduce our race officials and our judges and any notices she might have. So right. Taryn Teague.
Thank you, Randy and Mayor and Allison. We are all really pleased to come back to Charleston Race Week, and I know you are too. We've got a lot of veterans here over the past 26 years, and it's just an exhilarating time to come down and be in the sand and on the beach and in this harbor, which I know we will hear a little bit more about.
So you just got to be closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic. Yeah, so we're glad to see you all here. I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce our principal race officers, our course race officers this year. A lot of them have been here again for a number of years. And on Circle 1, we have Chip Till, National Race Officer. And on Circle 2, we have Mark DeGear, Regional Race Officer. And on Circle 3, we have Matt Hill, National Race Officer and also the Administrator at U.S. Sailing. And on Circle 5, we have Ray Redness. He is, and we have Ray Redness, these two cohorts here as a Regional Race Officer, and of course, Bruce Bingman as a National Race Officer. So these are the guys that are running it on the water. And I also want to refer you to 2 new updates in yacht scoring. You may have received an email. We're trying to email the course that it impacts. But we do have an Amendment 1 out for the VX1s, for your Vaqueros Race Sense information. And Amendment 2 we have out for the Pursuit course. We have a new class that's been added to the Pursuit course. So please take a look at that tonight. And then of course, well before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, you would get information on your course designator, just as a reminder. And the third amendment is we will be using Mark Set Bot on Division 2, Circle 2. So it may be an orange inflatable, or it may be an orange Mark Set Bot. So you have the option there. So take a look at those amendments. So we're glad to see you here. The other introduction, who is our Chief Judge, National Judge, been in that role for many years, is Sarah Ashton. So again, we welcome to keep the communication lines open. You know, the only, and I'm coming a little early in the agenda, but what I did want to mention, one thing you do need to remember going out of here, and I know there's some people that are going to further stress this, is that you should expect, at least going out and at least coming in, to see one of the big freighters, right? You should expect to see one of the cargo ships going out when you're going out. And you should expect to see one when you're coming in, at least one. So be very aware. You may not see it, but you should expect to see at least one. So that's what I want to leave you with, an awareness of safety and the marine activity in our wonderful harbor. So, thank you.
I'm going to reinforce that. We probably had about 4 or 5 horn situations just today alone. We cannot have that tomorrow. You know, check your sailing instructions, but you know, there's a pretty harsh penalty if you're found to be creating a 5-horn incident. So you want to keep clear. We're going to spend a little bit more time on that because it's super important that we're sharing this harbor with the commercial traffic. And they've been able to give us a pretty wide margin, you know, to work with, and when using this course, but we have to be very, very aware of the commercial traffic and not be in their way. So let me, I'm going to screw this up probably. We love our sponsors. I want to introduce Steve Shapiro with our safety plan. It's much more than this, but this is the key ingredient to making this work.
Well, let me welcome everyone, and our objective this weekend is for you to have fun and no one to get hurt. And but in any event, we're going to be prepared for any emergencies. And so if you have a true emergency on a boat, not that you're seasick or you lost your lunch or you bumped your head and you not feeling all that great. There are safety boats on each of the courses. But if there's a true emergency, we have medical boats. We have one offshore and one inshore. And there are physicians on both boats and there are EMTs on both boats. If you will hail your PRO, okay, they will start the process. Or that number is my personal cell phone, and I'll be on the inshore boat. We about 4 years ago actually had to, we had a heart attack and had to defib somebody on a boat. And fortunately we were prepared and ready to go. Just if you have a true emergency, please tell us where you are, what boat you're in, you know, the where, what, and how, so we can get to you. We have 2 very powerful boats that will get to anywhere in the harbor in a very short period of time, so we will get to you ASAP. Hopefully, the most fun that we have as the medical is that we never get a phone call. And I also remind you that accidents can occur on land, so please be careful. I've seen too many people jump in the water to clean their bottoms and scrape them against our docks. They're filled with oysters. They're like scalpels. They will cut you and really cut you badly. So please be careful if you want to clean the bottom of your boat before a race. And with that, I'll be around. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Steve. I mean, a number of years ago when we did have that heart attack, it was great to see what we were able to accomplish and literally save that guy's life that day. And I can't thank Steve enough and for his process to be able to make that happen. You know, I would have been the next guy to going down, I think, unfortunately, you know, if we weren't successful there. But the guy walked out of the hospital on Tuesday, better than new, as we'd say. So next, I want to spend a little bit of time. We just talked about harbor traffic. We're lucky enough to have Walter Peraza from the Pilots Association as a kind of a communicator, patrol boat out there, keeping his eyes on everything and trying to help you guys stay clear of the commercial traffic. And he's got some great ideas and concerns that he wants to share so you guys understand how to manage this traffic and these instances. So Walter?
Thank you, Randy. Just a little background. I've been sailing in Charleston Harbor for 50 years. So I have been working with the Charleston Harbor pilots for 21 and a half years. I don't know how many years I've done this, but I know it's been at least 10. So my goal is to help you do what you need to be doing, which is staying out of the way of the commercial traffic. The tour boats are one part of it, and I work with those captains on trying to get them to accommodate us as best as we can, steering clear of the race courses. I work with the race officers on that. And then I coordinate with the race officers with regard to the commercial traffic, the large commercial traffic that's coming and going. And I have direct communication with the pilots on board. So I can relay to them specific information with regard to timing and numbers and all those kind of things. So when you're leaving in the morning, don't just look ahead. Please look back. Please make sure that you have your VHF on, channel 16, 13. They will do safety calls at every stage of the way. Look ahead, look behind you. Don't cross the channel on a shallow angle. Cross it at 90 degrees, get to the other side, stay outside of the channel. If you need to talk to a ship, please identify your boat not as the white sailboat to starboard. There's 150 white boats out there, okay? So they don't know which white boat it is. Please give them your sail number, relative bearing to them, something to identify yourself, and clearly state what your intentions are, and then listen. If they acknowledge that your intentions are acceptable, then proceed. If they don't, you have to assume that they do not think that's a good idea. The diagram that's in the lower left, it's a little hard to see, but I know it's in your race documents. It illustrates the fact that the pilot and the captain cannot see up to a quarter of a mile in front of their vessel. And if you intend to cross their bow and you go out of sight and you have not communicated with them, expect to hear horns. You do not want to be the second person that I have protested under this rule. It was a very tough thing to send somebody home for the weekend. So, please, I'll be out. I'll leave in the morning. I go to the pursuit course. I help get those guys underway, making sure that they're aware of what's going on. So I will speak with those race officers about traffic in the morning. I will then move over to the other 3 circles. You will see me, I'm in a seafoam green 20-foot center console. I've got a white flag with a red X on it. So if I come up behind you and tell you that you need to tack or jibe or slow down, I'm not kidding, okay? I had a boat last year, offshore boat, sailing out, and they're all looking ahead, and there is a large vessel outbound that's catching them. And I pulled up to them and I said, you need to either tack or bear off. I don't care which one. They're like, oh, we're good. I'm like, no, you're not. The only reason you haven't received 5 horns is because I'm up here talking to you, and that guy that's on the bridge trusts me. So please don't put me in that position. Don't put yourself in that position. You've all spent a lot of money and a lot of time to be here. Please be aware of what's going on. Sail fast, have fun, be safe.
Let's see, what's next on the agenda? Well, we talked about Circle 3s. We've got another special guest that just came in from Arizona. Luckily, I had a tailwind, so he got here a little bit earlier. But here, Shay Gibson, our fabulous weather forecaster, is here, and I want him to spend a few minutes with you about the next couple of days' weather. We'll do weather briefings in the morning at 8 o'clock, which will be updates of what he's going to tell you tonight. But I think we're all kind of wondering about how light that breeze is going to be in the morning, until how long, and all that good stuff. So please welcome Shay Gibson. Thank you.
All right, yeah, moment of truth, right, where everybody wants to know what the winds are going to do. A couple of days ago, it looked pretty straightforward, some pretty decent south-southwest sea breezes building in each day. Things have changed, right? Things are apt to change when you're 4 and 5 days out and these models just don't catch some of the local nuances, right? So what we do know is that there's inland troughing and old fronts sitting up near the Appalachian Mountains. We have weak high pressure over the area now. Yesterday was a little stronger. I think we're going to continue to see that ridging process break down a little bit each day, meaning tomorrow might look a lot like today, okay? We're looking at the 11 to 15 knot ranges building. The question is when, right? So we've seen a later build than normal. So that westerly morning breeze is what to watch out for. That west-southwest to west land breeze, that's 3 to 6 knots, and even lighter. So be sure if you're on the west sides of those courses that you stay out of the shadow, stay on the right sides where you can, stay in the wind when it does come up. It may not be evenly spread across the harbor, as we've seen with thermal induction with wind across the harbor, right? Along the ocean, we may only get 4 to 8 knots, where inside the harbor, we're looking at 11 to 15. And that's due to the discrepancy with the high air temperature over the cooler waters. So that's what's called shallow marine layering without a complete fog bank. You get that disparity or that disconnect with the winds. But inside the harbor, better. The offshore pursuit class, that's going to be tough. Probably looking at more southwesterly directions out there in the 4 to 8 knot ranges. If anything more than that, it's going to be gifted. So just be prepared for light winds each day. on the offshore course. Maybe once you get outside the jetties, you'll find some pools of wind here and there. It won't be filled in all the way. I've been out there myself several times in this race and seen where you just find pockets of wind here and there. So no rhyme or reason about it. If you see the dark spots on the water, head for them. That's usually where the wind is. In the morning, if you do see a cloud line develop offshore and push into the harbor, follow that. Follow the left side of these cloud lines, right? That's where your pressure is going to be on south or south-southwest. Pressure is going to lean right when it turns southwest in the afternoon. So again, Randy, that begs the question of when that sea breeze is going to fill into the coast off of that land breeze. We're going to take it day to day with these daily briefings. I think it's important everybody registers and watches for that, because I think every day is going to be a little bit trickier as we go forward, especially Sunday. We're seeing a change up on Sunday. A lot of uncertainty about a low pressure building off the coast or along it, or could just be an embedded low along an old front, and then we get an east-northeast wedge building down behind that. So remember, if that's the case, if that happens with that big ridge building out west, models don't catch the higher winds on that. So if the models are showing you 11 to 15 knots, be ready for 14 to 18, easy. And that fills in usually about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. You'll see an offshore breeze early, and then as the sun comes up and goes higher in the atmosphere, the winds will turn onshore and then or side shore and eventually turn onshore by around 10 o'clock in the morning. That's generally about what time it does, if not a little sooner. With that said, I think, Randy, it really is just about watching day to day on the wind. As far as currents go, we're going to be in a waxing gibbous moon phase, which means neap tides or quasi-neap tides. That means higher than normal low tide, lower than normal high tide. So we're only going to have about a 4.5 to 5 foot swing. Low tide's tomorrow at 12 noon, right around that time. So you're going to be on an ebb at the start, and then on a small flood on the incoming. By the time the races are wrapping up, you're only looking at about 1.5 to 1.6 knots on the current, based on that. Maybe 2 knots right down the middle of the channel, middle grounds, could show that over by Fort Sumter, where you see some of the curves in the coast. And I think that's pretty much it. Look at that and make sure you look at where the salt line is on the water as where the tide is coming out from the Ashley River, and just notice the difference in the water, the color of the water right there, because there's a difference in the wind too. You want to stay on the right side of that if you can in those courses, especially with the winds shadowing out from the west or south-southwest off of James Island and the peninsula downtown. That's where you want to be. So, any questions? Looks like I almost covered it all.
How much lower is the low water?
How much lower? It's about 0.6.
Meters or feet?
Feet. Yeah, it's always done feet, yeah. Mean low water, high level mark. Mean low level water mark. So yeah, it's about 0.6. High tide's right around 5 feet. So there again, about 4.4 feet of swing in the tide, which is not very much for here. It's normally 6. Right.
Where's the link to your Zoom?
The Zoom is, I know the Charleston Race Week has it. I don't have it up here, but Quantum Sales has that on their site on the Charleston Race Week, so just make sure you catch the registration there. If anybody's familiar with the Chucktown Wind Report that I run, I'll put it there here in a little bit. If anybody doesn't know where that link is, I know that Quantum's put it out there several times for everybody. Most of you should have gotten emailed, I hope, but if not, we can figure out a way to provide that for you. All right, anything else?
Zoom is at 8 o'clock in the morning?
8 a.m., that's right, 8 o'clock in the morning, every morning. And we'll wrap it up Sunday, so we usually come on, we'll go through the slide deck, show just some housekeeping rules, go through everything. It's a pretty good format. We're usually done in about 15, 20 minutes, so we don't take too much of your time. We get right to the point, have some expert tips out on the course based on what the winds are going to look like, and then we wrap it up and boom, do a Q&A, and then that's it. So we know you guys want to get out there on the course as early as you can. All right? We good?
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow morning.
Get one.
All right, next, oh, look at, yeah, we are on schedule. 5:59. So now, next we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about local knowledge and this stuff called current that we seem to have in this harbor. Sorry. I'm talking too far away from the microphone again. And we're lucky enough to have Creighton Walters here. I was going to say, Greg, have we got anybody from Evolution, or are you doing this Lone Ranger?
Just me.
Oh, awesome. And again, Creighton is now president of the Pilots Association?
Lucky me. But not near as long as Walter.
Yeah. But anyway, we're very, very lucky to have him. He's a top world-class sailor, and again, has been born and raised here and knows this harbor like the back of his hand. He's been running pilot ships through here forever. Now he's on just a 40-hour work week job, you know? So welcome, Creighton. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. If y'all, I'm going to be doing some pointing and everything else on this, on the chart. But before I get started, y'all met the enforcer, Walter. Sorry. He gets to say all the bad stuff. Before I get started, I did take a ship yesterday. They let me take one about once a month. I was outbound on a big CMA ship. Who's the VX1 through with the bow 339? Is he here? No, is he here? Serious. Let me tell you, drinks on me tonight. Yesterday, he was outbound, getting ready to cross the channel. I saw you head up a little bit. Came around. I'm on this 1,200-foot ship, making about 8 knots. I see him chested again. He stayed right on the channel edge. We're going along. Finally, I saw him jibe around, turn around, and I walked down the wing to give you like a hand. I heard him, you tell the one of your boats, you know, or the chase boat, no, I'm going to go behind the ship. It's not worth it. I said, man, that guy, I owe him a beer. No, not at all. You did perfect. What did it cost you? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? Anyway. Yeah, that's right. All right, well, look, guys, I won't take your time. Shay did an incredible job. He's very good at what he does. He knows it. He knows the weather. What is my job? I'm a pilot. I've been here sailing in this harbor all my life. Plus, I've been driving ships for 35 years out here. So what do we see? You know, Shay hit the nail on the head. It's a 4.9 tide tomorrow. The tide swing is 4.4. It's not that much, which in Charleston, 1.1, 1.2 knots, that's not that much. It's a great thing for a race week. It doesn't, it leaves you a little leeway. Noon is low water. So what's going to happen is tides and currents, two different things. Everybody knows that. You all are pro sailors. What happens though, predicted Charleston Harbor is noon, low water. Guess what? The current's going to run another hour and an hour, maybe an hour and 10, depending on where you are. And the reason that's when slack water hits. Slack water is around 1 o'clock tomorrow. That's right in the Charleston, in the center of the harbor. So don't forget, low water is one thing, current is the other, and it runs same on the inbound. You'll find tomorrow around 1 o'clock it'll be still, and that'll be great. Good for the PROs trying to get this thing off, right? Slack water, nothing better. Southwest wind, 10 to 12. I mean, what's nicer? So what happens when it's ebbing and flooding? So current obviously comes in from Charleston Harbor. So the race circles here are all pretty benign in a line, right? Well, guess what the current does in Charleston Harbor? In flood tide, east to west, right like that. Ebb tide, west to east. It comes out, it hits Sullivan's Island, and goes out that way. For you guys that are racing in the offshore pursuit, where's your heavy deep water? Right in here. And you all start over there, if I remember correct, and then you go offshore. You're going to see the current. Shay hit the nail on the head. Look for the tide lines. And, with whichever way the wind's blowing, everybody knows this. The heavier water is the quicker water if it's against it, flatter water if it's with it. In here, inshore, look at this. All this blue water, or the blue shade, that's your relief area, one way or the other, inbound, downwind or upwind. Shallower water. This is the channel here in the South Channel. Once you get out there, you're in 25 to 30 feet of water. In here, you're in 12 to 15. Once that's your relief area, upwind or downwind, wherever you're trying to get. Everybody knows about middle ground, right? Everybody knows about middle ground. It's the big rock in the middle of the island. It'll take a Melges 24 keel off. Don't hit that at full speed. The tower. Look at when you go around. You can see the tide lines on these buoys. If there are any crab pots, I don't think there are this time of year, but look for your current and where it's going. Here, with these two race courses are here, the tide, obviously the current goes in and out this way. Here's what Shay was talking about. The Ashley River comes out here. It's first. When you start, the flood tide will come, you'll get flood tide going in both ways, it'll start slacking down. Once the tide starts ebbing, it's going to come out of the Ashley first, and you're going to see a tide line right there. And it's going to move over to here. And all that is the current coming out of here and the current coming out of here meeting. What's the best side? Depends on where you're going and what the wind direction is, but the bottom line is shallower water here, shallow water there. If you're over in this area, if you're sailing right here, I hate to tell you, there's no relief. Sorry about that. It's deep water across the channel. But inside here, inside the Carolina Yacht Club shadow, shallow water. You can get out of there. You know, now the trick is not to get too shallow. Everything in this area, you're not going to be over in here. They're not going to set up, you might get some marks up in here. Well, you will probably get marks up in here. Your relief area is there. As you get closer to this channel, that's where your heavy currents are. You can watch it, look for all your telltales, everything you need to see. But again, the biggest thing to remember is hour and 15 minutes after posted high water is when your current stops. Slack water might be 20, 30 minutes, and then it starts coming the other way. Every day it's about an hour and 10 minutes later. I could talk all night, you know, I don't need to tell you how to cook the rice. All I need to tell you is just keep an eye on it. And I'm glad to take questions. I'll step out and have a beer if anybody wants to, but anyway, good luck, have fun.
All right, speaking about having fun, I think the kitchen's probably open by now, the bars are probably open by now. Something to be, you know, I did send an email out. We do have to have you have your wristbands, not the blue one, but the actual event pass wristband in order to get the food and the booze. It's something we have to do legally. We've got to manage it. I wish it was easier than that, but sorry. So anyway, wristbands, make sure that you've got your event pass wristbands for tonight's party. That's how you get your liquor and your food. The blue band is just entrance to the Yorktown, but because of our liquor license and our restrictions, we have to have an event pass and a band. So make sure you've got, I don't know what it's, I think I saw somebody have them, they're red or orange. Awesome. And if you don't have them, make sure you just take your event pass and go get one. I think we've got somebody outside this theater to do it. Otherwise, you have to exit where you came in and go down the stairs, and we'll get you an event band for the party tonight. Everybody have a great event. And again, as Allison said, track us down if you need anything. We're here to help. We hope you have a great regatta. Thank you.